Hello, Wisconsin. It is I, your host, Cinema Kane, and today we're going to be talking about Netflix's That 90s Show. Truth be told, I was a massive fan of That 70s Show when it was on, and I still am. Two of my favorite standout characters, Red and Kitty Foreman, are back. This time as grandparents to, Eric and Donna's daughter, Leia Foreman. This show somehow manages to pick up the legacy of That 70s Show for a new generation of characters. It doesn't always work, but when it does work, it's magic. It feels a lot like That 70s Show in the best ways possible, but at the same time, it relies a little bit, in my opinion, probably too heavily on the legacy cast. Part of that has to do with the fact that while the new characters are good, they're just that, good. They're not great. The only two at this point that I can say are kind of standouts in this new group of characters is Leia Foreman and her best friend who lives across the street in Donna's old house, whose name is currently escaping me. But the two of them are great. They have really good chemistry together. The others are starting to grow on me. At this point, I've only watched the first 4 episodes. I do plan on at some point probably reviewing the rest of the series as a whole. But at this point, I'm basing it strictly off the first 4 episodes. Now, the good news is, if you are a fan of That 70s Show, the legacy characters who are coming back are treated with such great respect. And it's great to see them all again, and it's great to see where they are in their lives now, 15 years after That 70s Show. The first episode is set July 3rd, 1995. I realized after seeing the date, I said, I was 11 going on 12. I would have been 12 later that year. So, in my head, I'm thinking, wow, I was alive during this, fictional show. It's an interesting experiment to me whenever you're revisiting a very popular property, especially one like That 70s Show, because That 70s Show was never meant to be like a carbon copy of this is exactly what your 70s experience was like. It was meant to be very specific. It was meant to almost act as a I don't know. It's difficult to say, but it was never meant to be, exactly what your 70s experience was. And that's just like what they're doing with That 90s Show. It's not exactly your 90s experience. And they while they do play on the 90s, they play on the 90s much like That 70s Show played on the 70s, mentioning the music, movies, and other pop culture references of the day. One of my favorite references in episode 2 is they mentioned the Kevin Smith movie Clerks. Made me laugh. And they do so in a Blockbuster video where the tape has been missing for 6 weeks. If you didn't know this, fun little fact about Clerks, in the 90s, it was one of the most stolen VHS tapes of all time. How funny is that? So anyway, I really did enjoy That 90s Show. I hope it gets a second season. The biggest issues at this point are I want the new characters to grow and become more than what they currently are, which is kind of just stand-ins for the original cast. I almost feel like they would have been better off to have just come up with new archetypes or new stereotypes rather than relying strictly on what they had done before. Also, maybe don't rely as heavily on the legacy cast, with the exception of Red and Kitty, because that's the whole point of the show. Red and Kitty are great. Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Joy Rupp are perfect, and I'm so glad to see them back. They're so funny still all these years later. So if you haven't seen that 90s show yet, definitely give it a watch. I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about it down in the comments below, because I know not everyone's going to agree with me. But at this point, I'll say the show's good. I can't really say it's great, but when it works, it works. I've been your host, Cinema Kane, and I'll see you at the video store. Hello, it is I, your host, Cinema Kane, reminding you to like and subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell notification every time, so you know every time Cinema Kane has a new video uploaded. I'm trying to grow the channel, so if you want to recommend me to your friends or share this on social media, that would be great too. I'd highly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time at the video store.